Hey econ students, this is Jacob Clifford. Welcome to the Macroeconomics Unit 1 summary video. In these summary videos, I quickly explain all the concepts you need for your next quiz, unit exam, or your final exam. Basically everything you need to get an A in your class. But I'm going to be going quick. Now, I am going to be using the AP curriculum, but that's pretty much the same as any introductory macroeconomics course. So if you're a first-year college student or you're preparing for the A-level or CLEP exam, it's all the same stuff. This video covers Unit 1 basic economic concepts. Now, before we get started, let's do a quick activity. I want you to make a fist with your right hand. I want you to put your thumb out and put your pinky out. So just like this. Here we go. This is round 1. Okay, you got it? All right, here comes round 2. Same thing on both hands. Thumbs out, pinkies out. Thumbs out, pinkies out. Try this. See how you do. Here comes round 3. I want thumb out, pinky out. Thumb out, pinky out. Do this. Now, there's 2 reasons why we did that activity. The first is this is a great analogy for what you're going to see in an economics class. Some concepts are super easy, like the definition of scarcity. Duh, I get it. It's easy. And eventually things get a little harder, like drawing the production possibilities curve or supply and demand, but they're still pretty easy. But then things are going to get a lot harder, like figuring out comparative advantage or terms of trade. That stuff is harder and you're going to feel confused. There's concepts in this class that I'm going to do fast, but you got to slow down and you got to practice, and it's okay to make mistakes. You just got to keep doing it until you're like, yeah, okay, I got it. Trust me, it's not enough just to watch me draw the graphs and do the calculations. You're going to have to practice. You're going to have to do it yourself. Now, the second reason we're doing this activity is I wanted to find out if you're willing to participate. If I had you do this and you didn't do anything, round 2, you didn't do anything, round 3, you're just sitting there with your hands not moving, you're probably setting yourself up for failure. If you're not participating, then you're definitely not going to get the most out of these videos. Because every once in a while, I'm going to say, stop this video. I want you to draw this graph or do those calculations. And I promise you, I'm not wasting your time. I know the questions your teacher, professor is going to ask you. So when I ask you to stop and practice, go ahead and try those things, because that's what you're going to see on your next exam. And that's also why I create a study guide that goes along with this video. The Unit 1 study guide is inside my Ultimate Review packet and it's free. Just sign up for the free preview. The link is in the description below. And I just uploaded new study guides, so make sure you have the most updated version. So here we go. Pause this video, go download and print the Unit 1 study guide, have it ready to go, and start the video back up again. Okay, here we go. You've got your study guide, your video, you got your energy and excitement. Let's jump into it. Let's learn some economics. Let's go. The best place to start is with a quick overview. There are 5 big picture ideas that you need to understand in Macroeconomics Unit 1. Number 1, economics focuses on scarcity and how it requires individuals, businesses, and governments to make choices. Number 2, the production possibilities curve shows the different combinations of 2 goods that can be produced using all a country's resources to the fullest. Number 3, the production possibilities curve can shift outward when there's more resources or more productivity from new technology. Number 4, countries that have a comparative advantage can specialize in the production of specific goods and trade with other countries at a lower opportunity cost than if they produce everything on their own. And number 5, changes in markets can be explained using a demand and supply graph. Now that was the big picture. Now let's jump into specific topics. Every economics class starts by looking at scarcity, the idea that we have unlimited wants but limited resources, which means we're forced to make choices. For example, you have to decide who you want to take out on a date on Friday night, because you definitely can't take 2 people out. And businesses have to decide how many units to produce or how many workers to hire. And governments need to decide how many public services to provide or what policies are best to fight inflation or to promote growth. So when you boil it down, economics is a study of choices and decision making. So that's why you're taking this class. Learning economics is going to make you a better decision maker. Just look at the highest paid college majors. Most of the ones at the top are in STEM, but take a look right here, economics. Oh yeah. When I talk about limited resources, a lot of students assume I'm talking about money, but money is not a resource. Yes, we use money to make transactions, but it's not a resource because you can't produce anything with it. Instead, your teacher, professor is going to talk about the 4 factors of production, the 4 things we need to produce stuff: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Land is anything from Mother Nature, like water, minerals, crude oil, or sunlight. Labor is obviously the work that humans do, everything you did during your summer job. For capital, there's 2 types. There's physical capital and human capital. Physical capital are things like tools, machines, and factories used to produce stuff. Human capital is the knowledge, experience, and training that makes workers more productive. By the way, that's another reason why you're taking economics. You're trying to increase your human capital, making yourself more productive and more valuable to employers. And the last factor is entrepreneurship, the person that brings together all the other resources, starts the business, and takes the risk. Another thing your teacher professor might talk about early on is the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. Microeconomics is the study of small economic units and looks at the decisions of individuals and firms. Things like the cost of production in the different kinds of markets. Macroeconomics studies the collective decisions of everyone, the entire economy. Macro looks at things like growth, unemployment, inflation, and different policies to speed up or slow down the economy.
We are strongly committed to returning inflation to our 2% goal.
And that's what we're going to be doing here. This is macroeconomics.
First day of school, very, very exciting.
And in this class, we're going to focus on a mixed economy where individuals and the government both play a role. That's different than a centrally planned economy where the government owns the factors of production and decides what to produce, how to produce it, and who gets it. Modern economies combine free market capitalism with some government intervention, so that's what you're going to learn in an econ class. Unless, of course, you're in North Korea. That's all I'm going to say about the economic systems. If you want to learn more, take a look at the video that I made for the Crash Course folks, or take a look at the video where I went to China and that lady was checking me out. Did you notice that lady checked me out? That means that it has a special government system that allows... Okay, that's it for topic 1.1. I know it was super easy. Go ahead and take out your study guide, fill out that section for 1.1. In topic 1.2, you're introduced to a concept that you're going to use for the rest of your life. It's the idea of opportunity cost. Because of scarcity, we're forced to make choices, and every choice has a cost, an opportunity cost. It's the cost of the next best alternative, the thing that you would have done if you didn't make that choice. For example, the cost of going to the movies tonight is not just the price of the ticket, it's also the time you could have spent studying for your economics class, or the money you could have earned by spending that time babysitting instead. So individuals, businesses, and the government all make decisions by factoring in their opportunity cost, the thing they're giving up. And this is when you see the very first graph you see in an econ class, the production possibilities curve. Your teacher might call it the production possibilities frontier, but it's the same thing. It's a model that shows the alternative ways we can use our scarce resources to produce only two goods. It usually starts off with a chart like this showing the different combinations of two goods that can be produced using all of our resources. When you plot these combinations, you get the production possibilities curve, the PPC. Now, there are three things that your teacher professor is going to have you do with this graph. First, they're going to ask questions having you explain how this graph demonstrates different economic concepts, like efficiency. Any point inside the curve is inefficient because we're not using our resources to the fullest. Any point on the curve is efficient, and any point outside the curve is impossible or unattainable because we don't have enough resources. Second, your teacher will ask you to use the PPC to calculate the opportunity cost of moving to different combinations. For example, the opportunity cost of moving from combination B to combination C is 3 bikes, and the opportunity cost of moving from combination E to combination D is 2 computers. The third thing your teacher will have you do is show how changes move or shift the PPC. For example, let's practice. Here is a PPC showing the different combinations of consumer goods and capital goods for the country of Cliftopia. Show what'll happen on this graph when a country goes from having a recession with a lot of unemployment to having a strong economy and full employment. Pause the video and see if you can figure it out. Now, you might be thinking, okay, we're going to produce more, so the curve's going to shift outward. But no, that's not what happens. What happens looks like this. We're going from an inefficient combination where workers aren't being fully utilized to an efficient combination at full employment, which is a point on the curve. The curve doesn't shift. It's not like these are new workers that are being added to the economy. These are workers that just didn't have a job and now they're working. But if we did have more workers or better workers or more physical capital, then the entire production possibilities curve would shift outward to the right. Combinations that were impossible would now be possible because we have more resources. Now remember, this is a summary video and I'm going pretty quick on purpose. So if you need more help with the PPC, take a look at my videos on YouTube. But if you can answer the questions in topic 1.2 on your study guide, then you totally understand it and you're ready to move forward. So pause this video and fill out that section. Let's see how you do. Okay, by far the hardest topic in this entire unit is right here. We're talking about comparative advantage.
It's not that hard, Scott. Tell him, Wash.
It's incredibly hard.
The general idea is really simple. Countries have different climates and different resources, so they can specialize in one thing and trade with other countries that specialize in producing something else. So the concept is easy, but the questions you're going to see on your exam, those are hard. Your teacher professor is going to give you a question like this with 2 countries, 2 products, and numbers. In this case, the number of cars or planes the US and Canada can make in one day. The country's products and numbers might change, but you'll always be asked 4 different types of questions. Number 1, identify which country has an absolute advantage for each good. Number 2, calculate the opportunity cost for each country. Number 3, identify which country has a comparative advantage in which good. And number 4, identify a terms of trade that is mutually beneficial for both countries. That's it. If you can do these 4 things, then you are ready for any question your teacher or professor is going to give you. I have a bunch of videos on YouTube that explain these concepts and let you practice, but right now let's practice these 4 skills. So pause the video. Here's 4 questions. Good luck. Okay, how'd you do? Did you do well? I hope so. Let's go over the answers. A country has an absolute advantage if they're better at producing a product than another country. So all you have to do is look at the raw number. The US can produce 5 planes and Canada can only produce 2 planes. So the United States has an absolute advantage in the production of planes. And the US also has an absolute advantage in the production of cars because they can produce more than Canada. So the answer to question 1 is no, Canada does not have an absolute advantage in cars because they produce less than the United States. Again, it's super easy. Next, it's time to calculate opportunity cost, which is a little harder. For calculating opportunity cost, we know that when the US produces 5 planes, they can't produce 10 cars. But what's the cost of producing only 1 plane? To figure that out, you need the equation for per unit opportunity cost. It's the number of units given up divided by the number of units gained. So for question 2, if 5 planes cost the US 10 cars, then the opportunity cost of 1 plane is 2 cars. And you can flip that to get the opportunity cost for 1 car. If 10 cars cost the US 5 planes, then the opportunity cost for 1 car is a half a plane. Again, what you're calculating is called per unit opportunity cost. Now let's go do the same thing for Canada. For Canada, each car costs 1/4 a plane, and each plane costs 4 cars. By the way, notice they're always a reciprocal. If one's 4, the other one's gonna be 1/4. If one's 10, the other one's gonna be 1/10. Okay, now we have enough information to answer question 3 and find the comparative advantage. Just ask yourself who should produce planes, the country that gives up 2 cars or the country that gives up 4 cars. Obviously, it's better to give up less, so the United States has a comparative advantage in the production of planes because they have a lower opportunity cost. And Canada has a comparative advantage in cars. 1 car costs Canada only 1/4 a plane, but it costs the United States 1/2 a plane. So with these numbers, Canada should specialize in producing the cars, and the United States should specialize in producing planes. But we're not done. The last step is by far the hardest. It's finding the terms of trade. We know that each country should specialize and produce only one thing, but how many cars should Canada trade for how many planes? The quick answer is that both countries will be willing to trade if and only if they can get the other product at a lower opportunity cost than if they produced it themselves. For example, we know that Canada should specialize in cars, and if they did make planes, it will cost them 4 cars for each plane. But if they could trade 3 cars for 1 plane, they'd be better off. They could specialize in producing cars and trade with the United States and get planes at a lower opportunity cost than if they made planes themselves. And it's the same idea for the United States. We know they should specialize in planes, and if they made 1 car, it'll cost them 1/2 a plane given up. So if the United States can get 1 car for anything less than 1/2 a plane, then they're better off. With trade, they can be getting cars at a lower opportunity cost than if they produced them themselves. So to answer question 4, trading 1 plane for 3 cars would be mutually beneficial. It would benefit both countries. Because Canada can get a plane by only giving up 3 cars instead of 4, and the United States can get a car by giving up only 1/3 of a plane instead of giving up 1/2. Woohoo, that was a lot. I'm telling you, this is by far the hardest topic. So here's a video of a puppy running to help you unwind. Now, hopefully you understood all of that, but we're not done. There's actually 2 different types of comparative advantage questions. The one you saw was an output question. Now we also have to talk about input questions. It's very likely that you'll see both types on your next quiz or exam. Now watch carefully. I'm going to convert this output question that I just gave you into an input question. So here we go right now. Notice the countries, products, and the numbers are the same. The only difference is what those numbers mean. Now they represent hours. Look at the top of the chart. It says this chart shows the number of hours it takes each country to produce one car or one plane. So in an output question, those numbers represent the number of cars and planes produced. Now we're looking at the hours to produce only one. So now who has an absolute advantage in the production of cars? Well, now it's Canada because it only takes them 8 hours to produce one car, and it takes the US 10 hours to produce one car. Now this also changes how you calculate per unit opportunity cost. If the US takes 10 hours to produce a car and 5 hours to produce a plane, then the opportunity cost of one car is 2 planes. So when it comes to input questions, the opportunity cost is actually the reciprocal, or it's flipped compared to output questions. Now, after that, you just do exactly what you did before. Who should specialize in cars? Well, the United States, because they only give up 2 planes, and Canada gives up 4 planes. The US has a lower opportunity cost. And Canada should specialize in planes because each plane costs them 1/4 a car. For the United States, it's 1/2 a car. And trading one car for 3 planes is a mutually beneficial terms of trade. Now, I know I went over that last part fast, but that's on purpose. Remember, this is a summary video. I have more videos on YouTube. If you're still lost a little bit, go back and watch my practice videos or my hacks video. They'll give you tons of tips and strategies to make sure that you're getting it. You're going to find out right now if you know how to do this. Take out your study guide. Look at topic 1.3. I have 2 sets of questions for you. The ones on the left are output questions. The one on the right, those are input questions. So right now, pause this video. Good luck. Okay, now we're moving on to demand and supply. You learned this in your class. It all starts off with some basic definitions. Demand is the different quantities that consumers are willing and able to buy at different prices. And there's the law of demand. It shows an inverse relationship between price and the quantity demanded. If the price goes up, the quantity people want to buy is going to fall. The price goes down, people are going to want to buy more. Now, this law is shown on a graph with a downward sloping demand curve. If the price falls, more people will be willing and able to buy. If the price goes up, less people will be willing and able to buy. So a change in the price of the product moves along the demand curve. But if something else other than the price changes, that could cause the demand curve to shift. For example, if there's suddenly more consumers in the market, that would cause the demand curve to shift to the right, so at every single price, people are willing and able to buy more. But if it was found this product gets people sick, then the whole demand curve would shift to the left. At every single price, people will be willing and able to buy less. Now, there are 5 shifters or determinants of demand. There's taste and preferences, number of consumers, price of related goods, substitutes and complements, income, and future expectations. Let's see if you get it by giving you a practice question. What happens to the demand curve for milk if the price of milk falls? Nothing. The demand doesn't shift. Remember, a change in the price of the product moves along the curve. Just remember, price doesn't shift the curve.
Don't forget, price doesn't shift the curve. Yar! Thank you.
Okay, new question. What happens to the demand curve for milk if the price of a substitute falls? This would cause the demand for milk to decrease and shift to the left. At every price, consumers are willing and able to buy less because the price of a substitute has fallen. They're going to buy the other good instead. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, whoa. You just said price didn't shift the curve, and all of a sudden the price of the substitute, that caused the curve to shift. Yes, a change in the price of the product doesn't shift the demand curve, but this is talking about a change in the price of a different product, a substitute. To clarify, a change in the price of the actual product moves along the demand curve, and that's called a change in quantity demanded. If one of those 5 shifters change, that's a change in demand. It seems like the same thing, but trust me, I guarantee your teacher is going to ask you a question about that. Now, all of this also applies to the supply curve. Supply is the different quantities that producers are willing and able to sell at different prices. And there's also a law of supply showing a direct relationship between price and the quantity supplied. When the price goes up, producers want to produce more. When the price goes down, producers are going to produce and sell less. This is because when the price goes up, producers are going to make more profit, so they want to sell more. When the price goes down, I'm going to sell less because why bother? So that means there's an upward sloping supply curve, which also has its own shifters. The price of resources or inputs, the number of producers, technology, government intervention like taxes, subsidies, and regulation, and expectations of future profit. Again, let's practice. Show what happens to the supply curve for milk if the price of milking machines increases. Milking machines are a key resource for producing milk, so the supply of milk is going to shift to the left. At every price, milk producers are going to be willing and able to sell less milk. Okay, now's a good time to stop to make sure you're getting everything. Take out your study guide, fill out topics 1.4 and 1.5. Now it's time to put supply and demand together, so right here is the equilibrium price and quantity. This is the only price where the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied, and we assume that's where we're going to be in a competitive market. When the price is too high and above equilibrium, then there's a surplus, and eventually prices will fall because sellers have all these extra units. They're going to lower the price so people will buy them. And when the price is below equilibrium and there's a shortage, eventually prices will go up because consumers will bid up those prices. The point is, always assume we're at equilibrium unless something weird's going on in the market. Now, probably the most important skill in this unit is this next part, showing changes in a market.
You want to talk about a supply and demand problem? I sell ice for a living.
When it comes to these questions, there's 3 steps. Step 1 is draw supply and demand and label the original equilibrium price and quantity. Step 2 is analyze the change. Is it going to affect supply or demand? What's the shifter? Draw and label that new curve, and don't forget to draw an arrow. And step 3 is the most important one. Identify the new equilibrium price and quantity and say what happened. Did price go up or down? Did quantity go up or down? And remember, that's what we're doing here. We're trying to predict what's going to happen when there's a change in a market. What's going to happen to price and quantity?
Ooh, that's a rough business to be in right now. I mean, that is really... that's unfortunate.
Let's practice. Draw a market for ice cream and show what'll happen if the price of cream, an input, significantly decreases. You start with a graph showing the original equilibrium. We're analyzing ice cream and the price of an input fell, so that's going to affect the supply. The supply is going to shift to the right, so make sure to draw and label that and have an arrow. Now label the new equilibrium price and quantity, and the bottom say price went down and the quantity went up. Now, I know it seems like there's a lot going on here, but remember, there's only 4 things that can happen. Demand can increase, demand can decrease, supply can increase, or supply can decrease. It's easy, except when there's double shifts. Sometimes you might see a question that explicitly tells you that both demand and supply shifted. When you see that, remember the double shift rule. When 2 curves shift at the same time, either price or quantity is going to be indeterminate. In other words, you won't be able to tell. It could go up or it could go down. Let's practice. Assume you have a question that says the demand's going to fall and the supply is going to fall. What's going to happen to price and quantity? To get the answer, just draw the graphs. Remember, when in doubt, graph it out. A decrease in demand will cause the price to go down and the quantity to go down, and a decrease in supply will cause the price to go up and the quantity to go down. So no matter what happens, the quantity is definitely going to decrease. The price might go up, it might go down, so that's the one that's indeterminate. Or your teacher might use the term ambiguous. Either way, you don't know. It might go up, might go down. You can't tell. But remember, this is only for double shifts. When it comes to single shifts, you know exactly what's going to happen. Either price goes up or down, quantity's going to go up or down. Double shifts, something's going to be indeterminate. Now, your teacher professor is going to ask you some questions about supply and demand on your next quiz or your unit exam. But the real reason you have to practice these and get super comfortable with supply and demand is because you're going to need it in future units. But right now, let's see what you know. Fill out all of topic 1.6, covering everything you need for supply and demand in your study guide. Good luck. Okay, now you're done with your study guide, so what are the next steps? The next thing you should do is the unit practice multiple choice questions I have in the ultimate review packet. Yes, you are gonna have to draw supply and demand, but make sure you can also answer multiple choice questions. And when you're ready, take a look at the unit 1 free responses inside the ultimate review packet. Try those questions on your own, then look at the answer key, and if you need more help, watch the video where I go over all the answers. Okay, that's it for Macroeconomics Unit 1. If this video helped you, please give it a like and leave a comment below, and please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Until next time.
Don't forget, race and ship the car. Yar!